Yeah, so the other day I saw a pretty wild theory about the Chris Benoit tragedy. For those that don't know, Chris Benoit was a wrestler, and I'm just going to read it here. He's more generally known for murdering his wife and his youngest son before committing suicide in '07. They say it was brain damage, whatever the fuck. I could go into it, I'm not going to. Read up on it if you want. There's enough shit out there. But the theory the what now there are a lot of theories and eventually I'm going to tackle them. One of them, a popular theory, is that his wife's ex, a fellow wrestler named Kevin Sullivan, did it or had it done. Benoit was a victim. I don't buy that theory at all. I mean, come on. The theory, the crazy theory that I saw the other day, is that the WWE, the World Wrestling Entertainment, had Chris Benoit and his family killed because Chris Benoit knew the truth about the death of Eddie Guerrero. And the truth about the death of Eddie Guerrero, according to this theory, this is still the same theory. So we got multiple theories, we got layers. The truth, according to this theory, about the death of Eddie Guerrero is that Eddie Guerrero did not die from whatever they say, heart attack, acute heart failure. That Eddie Guerrero actually died due to a brain bleed caused in the ring by Mr. Kennedy. I know. This is, I could not wrap my head around this. I had to read it several times. Mr. Kennedy and Eddie Guerrero. This is theory. This is a theory, which I don't believe, but I'm going to debunk the whole fucking thing. Mr. Kennedy and Eddie Guerrero had a wrestling match. Eddie Guerrero suffered an injury to the head, suffered a brain bleed, dies X amount of time after. The cause of death is acute heart failure. But Chris Benoit and I guess others, I don't know, but Chris Benoit knows the truth, what really happened, how his friend Eddie Guerrero really died, and he had that information. Was he going to blackmail the WWE? I don't know. Was he going to go to the press? I don't know. Was he going to just spread the news? I don't know. But the theory says that the WWE had him killed, him and his family killed, because he knew too much. That theory just sounds like bullshit to me. The Kevin Sullivan theory is actually more plausible and more logical. This theory is just crazy. So let's bring up did Kennedy and Eddie Guerrero ever wrestle each other in the WWE? Okay, so yes. Now according to this, oh, this was Mr. Kennedy. Oh, wait a second now. Okay, so I this is why. Okay, so this is what they're saying here. This is what. Okay, so Guerrero wrestled his last match on the November 11th episode of SmackDown, defeating Mr. Kennedy by disqualification. After the match, Kennedy hit him with a steel chair. All right, so here we go. I didn't know this. So it's possible that the steel chair shot killed him because he died of just 2 days later. The theory that Kennedy didn't do it on purpose. It was part of the match. Kennedy hit Eddie Guerrero with the chair, which might have killed him. That's not a good look for the WWE, right? Not really plausible. I mean, mm, that's that's a lot of cover up, especially in 2005. Like, before the internet and before people were smart to cover ups, it was easier to do that shit back in the 80s and 90s. 2005, I'm not so sure. So that's the first part of this theory. The second part is that the WWE had Benoit and his family killed because Benoit knew too much. Benoit knew the truth. So why just him? I mean, I know he was close to Eddie Guerrero and the family. I just don't know. I don't know what if Chris Benoit had that information. Sure, he could leverage that into more money, more status. But for the WWE to actually hire somebody, again, if it on its own, if they were like, yeah, we want Benoit gone and his family, okay. But not only are we dealing with that part that the WWE had to hire somebody, you're also doing it. First of all, a couple years later, which is kind of weird. But you're also dealing with buying the autopsy and covering that up. So we got a lot of cover up here in this theory. It's just too much. It's just too much, and I don't buy it. I don't buy the theory that the WWE silenced Chris Benoit and his family because they knew the truth behind the death of Eddie Guerrero. I do not buy that theory at all. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But, and there's a big but, there's always a but, right? There are some weird things surrounding the Benoit incident. We'll go into that in the future. We'll talk about the Kevin Sullivan theory. Those are really the only two theories that I've heard about Benoit. I mean, I think personally, what we were told actually happened. Too many shots to the head, drugs. He was in grief over losing his friend, Eddie. And it just took its toll. I think that's what actually happened. That ruined wrestling for me because it was at that point where I realized, oh, wrestlers are people too. They're just as good as people, but they're also just as bad as people. And I couldn't look at wrestling the same way after.